Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey, folks, say good Monday morning to you, the day before the election. Welcome to the show. Ryan Nicholson, our producer today. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor, text 304-935-500. We do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. We're brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Come check out the new F-150 in action at Thornhill Ford Lincoln. On the Thornhill Motor Mile, shop anytime, thornhillford.net or US 119 in Chapmanville. Phone calls to the show, a service of Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, Spring Street, Charleston. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Taylor, Virginia Street in Charleston. Visit bestmastertailor.com. Welcome to the show. It's a special edition of 580 Live with Dave Allen today because what is special about it? Well, I have with me in studio this morning the two candidates for Kanawha County Commission, the Democrat Natalie Tennant and the Republican Chris Walters. Neither are stranger to public office. Natalie Tennant, former West Virginia Secretary of State, has run for other offices in the past. Chris Walters, former state senator, been around politics for a long time. We're going to get to know both candidates better on this show. And a programming note that both Mr. Walters and Ms. Tennant have agreed to the rules we've set forth today. I will not be taking phone calls, but I will read text as long as they have to do with the duties of the Kanawha County Commission. We're not going to get into personal attacks or because that's not the kind of campaign that it's been. So if you'd like to text into the show with something for either candidate, I would prefer questions for both candidates that they can both answer. And again, the Tony the Taylor text is 304-935-5008. I've interviewed both candidates on the show prior to the primary and talked to them both since they won. Both of them vowed to run a positive campaign. And by gosh, in the era of nasty rhetoric we've seen in other races, particularly on the national level, both have proved to be true to their words. Because to my knowledge, neither has uttered a single negative comment about the other. And we're not going to start today. I want to give both candidates ample time to talk about themselves and their respective visions for the office of Kanawha County Commissioner. And they'll be on for the first two segments. Charleston Mayor Amy Shuler Goodwin, as she normally is on the first Monday of the month, will be in on the second part of the show. So thank you both for agreeing to do this. And I made much bigger deal about this than you guys did because I said I'm going to flip a coin, had to borrow a coin. Thank you, Ron. Had to borrow a coin, and I said I would let whoever won the coin toss either start off or defer to the end of the show. Both will get opening and closing statements, but it's just a matter about who won. They didn't make that big of a deal out of it. I did. Miss Tennant won the toss, though, fair and square toss, and so she has elected to defer until the second or the end of the show. So, Chris, you're up.
I'm up.
Hey, Chris Walters, how you doing, man?
Dave, I'm great. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And by the way, thanks to both of you for agreeing to do this. So Chris, if you're going to start off, I want you to just tell the people about Chris Walters.
Well, thank you for this opportunity, Dave. And also thank you, Natalie, for running such a positive race as well. You know, it's amazing in this time of age, in these days of politics, that two candidates that, I consider Natalie a friend, we've been positive with each other, positive to each other. We've talked about our ideas, not gone negative on one another. Third parties haven't gone negative on either of us that I've seen in this race either. I mean, it's just been probably the best, most positive campaign I've ever been a part of, which is just lovely. Because usually when you run, your whole family's on the ballot. Your whole family's dealing with things, and you're having to go through a lot, and it's been great this time of year. A little bit about Chris Walters, born and raised here in Kanawha County. I love it here. My family, after we got done with college, my wife and I, we moved here back to Charleston, decided to raise our kids here. We decided to because here we find Kanawha County is someplace special. And as we've started our businesses and grown and been involved in the community, we've seen where Kanawha County has a lot of great things, but is it a destination for families? And it's not. It doesn't have a lot of things for kids to do. And we've noticed this as we've grown with our kids, have one in high school, have one that's 10 years old. And we look at events and things for them to go to. And, we say, hey, in Barbersville, they've got Dave & Buster's. They've got the indoor ski facility. In Clay County, they have the Rail Explorer on the abandoned railroad tracks. In Fayette County, they have Ace Adventure Resorts. And what do we have in Kanawha County? So my big thing on this campaign has been, what can we do to bring kids joy here in Kanawha County when people come to Shawnee to do a soccer tournament, finish at 10 a.m. on a Saturday, and then Sunday is the next game? What are they going to do that afternoon? And I don't think Kanawha County is competitive in keeping people here to do fun things. So that's why I've been about doing a safari park, doing year-round snow tubing, doing mountain karting, activities for families so they can discover Kanawha County and see all the wonderful things they have here.
All right. Natalie?
Thank you. Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Chris. This has been fun. I mean, and we did continue it on because during the primary, neither of us knew if either of us was going to win. And so, we were out helping each other out. And actually, for trick-or-treating, his wife comes by, Elizabeth, and is like, only a few more days. And, of course, I have no voice. And I say yes. And she's like, this has been the best race that he's ever been in. Mm-hmm. And it says a lot about us, yes. And Chris has done some really nice things that others in his party wouldn't go. I mean, he showed up to places that others didn't. And we may get into that a little bit later. And excuse me, we've been talking about that a lot. We've been talking about you, Chris. Well, I'm Natalie Tennant, and I'm running for Kanawha County Commission. And as you said, I was Secretary of State for 8 years. And even before that, as a television reporter, allowing and being able to tell the stories of the people of West Virginia. And that, I felt, was a public servant service. And this is a public service also. And now I do some consulting work on voting rights. I work as a facilitator or a mentor or moderator, rather, because I like doing that. That falls into some of my reporting skills and things like that. And I just love it's the curiosity that I have in talking about various issues. And that's what I found as running for Kanawha County Commission. This has been amazing. And yes, people have said, oh, how is it different from running statewide? Well, I do generally sleep in my own bed at night instead of staying at the farm or staying at a hotel over in the Eastern Panhandle. But what it's also allowed me to do is really have conversations with people about what their concerns are. I've talked about water issues, as I've said. When you go to a quick dinner, and you're going to find, and Chris has been at some of these things too, when you go to these events, it's not just, oh, I'm paying $10 to go eat ramps at Ramp Quick Dinner. Mm-hmm. No, that's where I learned about 2 more miles of city water was needed up in that end. And there's economic development that is taking place and that could continue with those 2 more miles. So that's why my focus is on infrastructure and the internet. There's just no reason why we can't. I was campaigning one time in Nicholas County at the ramp. Man, I must go to a lot of ramp festivals. and I was looking at these crafts and these creative things, and this guy said, Natalie, we got a lot of talent up here in these mountains. And I said, I know, and we have to be able to get that out, and we do that through the internet. So that's a focus of mine too. And I agree that we should be a county that welcomes everyone. And I think that that's what we're starting to do. If a soccer field and a soccer complex brings people, well, so will Capital Sports Complex, but so will the Upper Kanawha Valley Recreation Plan that is in the works. And it needs to be worked a little bit more. I had the mayor of Pratt say, Natalie, I'm done with planners. I need some doers. And I said, well, you're looking at one right now. And I will use what they have put out for Eastern Kanawha County and add a lot. And I may steal some of Chris's ideas if they're practical. If they're practical, we're able to do it. Right now, it's hiking and biking and equestrian and horseback riding tracks also. So those are some of the things, and that's why I'm running, because I know that from the work and the deliverables that I had in the Secretary of State's office, whether it was online voter registration, which we've used, whether it was making it easier to start a business for military and young professionals, whether it was saving money, I know that I have that ability to transfer it to the county commission office and bring my enthusiasm and my ideas and my energy to it. So that's why I'm running, and I'm looking forward to talking about some of the other things I've learned and which has led to other ideas and solutions.
We're talking again with the two candidates for Kanawha County Commission, the Republican Chris Walters and the Democrat Natalie Tennant. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Bridge Valley. If you're interested in improving your company's IT workforce, know they offer custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap. At Bridge Valley, train for little or no cost. 50/50 salary matches available. They can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. Natalie, you mentioned the Capitol Sports Complex. So, Chris, I'm going to go to you. Where are you on the Capitol Sports Complex? I know that's a very broad question, but and I know it's not going to be just a for or against it or whatever. But what are your thoughts on the proposed Capitol Sports Complex, Chris?
So, whenever you look at the Capitol Sports Complex, first it was supposed to have a pool, and now it does not. The Capitol Sports Complex, the idea, I think, is a really good idea because you're going to have interchangeable floors: basketball, pickleball, volleyball, tennis, all types of interchangeable floors there. And then you'll also have them at the Coliseum and Convention Center, where regional tournaments can come in, play events at both facilities, whereas in other areas, they may play basketball at one place and then drive 45 minutes to go to another place. The issue that there is with the Capitol Sports Complex is the $80 million price tag. The city, they get money from a 1% sales tax. They get money from heads and beds for hotel rooms. They get money from the events that take place to help pay their $40 million of it. The county, we get our money from property taxes. We're going to own the property, Dave. Additionally, there's not going to be enough venues and events to pay the loan on $40 million. If the existing commissioners can show me exactly how we can do it in a fiscally responsible way, let's do it. But right now, I haven't seen how we can make those monthly payments. I have to see that before I can, jump all in to do it. There's a lot of great ideas that cost $80 million, Dave. It's just, can we afford it? And I hope so. I think it can be a great idea, but I haven't seen those numbers to be able to back it up.
Natalie, where are you on the Capitol Sports Complex?
I am for the Capitol Sports Complex, and I'm as upset as anybody else about the pool, because don't sell me something, and that's why I can't wait to get into real conversations with Commissioner Wheeler and Commissioner Solango and say, what happened to the pool? We need this because we do have some other facilities of basketball courts and things like that, but we need to make sure that those facilities are there as well. And when you start on a project, yes, there has to be follow through on that. And I believe that it's part of economic development. The building of it is part of the economic development that brings more jobs and more revenue back into the county. Because here we go. Chris talked about property taxes. Well, we do have a housing crisis. The more people that we can get come and live in Kanawha County with quality housing, then that helps to bring that economic development. And I think especially when building the Capitol Sports Complex, we have to make sure that it is union built and it is with prevailing wage. There are examples, of things that have been built that weren't used, didn't use union workers, and then they've had to go back and build it again. And so having unions build it then helps to generate, because we don't have one thing that's going to lift us up and cure all. All of this works together of economic development with housing to bring people in, and then to be able to have unions who are working, who train people along the way, called apprentices. And I had the opportunity to talk to someone. I said, that's just a beautiful word. It's a kind word, because it is an action where you are bringing someone in who is learning the skill and the process with someone who's wrapped their arm around it and says, come along, we're going to teach you and we're going to pay you at the same time, and you're going to have high expectations.
All right. I need to take a break. Did you have a follow-up? Do you want to say to that, Chris?
Yeah, I did, Dave. Okay. So speaking about it, first, we received federal money for the project, so it would be under Davis-Bacon if the project was being built. So it would be under that version of prevailing wage. But again, when it comes to the pool, South Charleston's building a brand new rec center with a pool. We could save tens of millions of dollars by tagging on to their project, working with the mayor of South Charleston, getting a facility built there that really would service the needs of our community, putting a diving pool in there as well. I used to swim. I understand the sport really well. I know it's a huge sport for our area, a lot of travel. And instead of adding it to the complex, we could easily do that tagging on to South Charleston's new recreational center. So there's a way to do the pool to take care of that community, which is really important. And again, I still haven't heard how we're going to be able to pay for the complex. That's something I really want to hear because, again, I would love to do it, but we have to be fiscally responsible.
All right. We're going to take a break. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. I have got several texts to get to from our listeners. I do appreciate those, and we're going to take a break. We'll come back with those texts right after this from the Par-Mar Store studio on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses are small businesses with big impact, including Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness.
Hey, it's Dave Allen for Par-Mar Stores. The most wonderful time of the year is here. Of course, I'm talking about football season, and your local Par-Mar store is ready. Whether you're heading to the game or just catching it at home, Par-Mar has everything you'll need, from the drinks to the snacks and so much more. Download the Par-Mar app and sign up for the Par-Mar rewards cards for even more savings. West Virginia, Ohio, Maryland, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Happy football. And if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
This is Brandon Grigsby with Prey Construction. When Steptoe & Johnson needed a partner to construct their professional space, they trusted Prey Construction. Just listen to what Brian Coakley of Steptoe & Johnson has to say.
I'm Brian Coakley of Steptoe & Johnson here in Charleston, West Virginia. We have worked with Prey Construction over the years at Chase Tower for all of our construction needs. The folks at Prey approach their work with the same dedication that we do.
Thank you, Brian, for allowing Prey Construction to be a steward of your projects and continue Steptoe & Johnson's 100-year tradition. To learn more about Prey Construction, visit preyconstruction.com.
Creating a better future for West Virginia families. That's the promise of Andrew Anderson. Born and raised in Kanawha County, Andrew Anderson now raises his kids in our community. Andrew Anderson is an engineer and job creator with decades of experience in energy and manufacturing. Andrew will take his experience to the House of Delegates to create more jobs and end the drug abuse crisis that hurts our families. Vote Andrew Anderson for House of Delegates.
I'm Andrew Anderson, and I ask for your vote on November 5th for House of Delegates.
Paid for by Andrew Anderson for West Virginia.
It is 9:25. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. The Selango Law Light the Night, opening up at Gomart Ballpark Friday night, November the 15th. Get your tickets early at dblightthenight.com. We're talking to Chris Walters and Natalie Tennant, our candidates for Kanawha County Commission. Text to the show says, with the funding for the Yeager Airport Terminal update secured, where do the candidates stand on the airport expansion into Coonskin Park? Chris, I'll start with you.
Okay, Dave, thank you. First off, I've got some really interesting insights on this. I am a pilot. I fly planes, general aviation. It's something I really enjoy. First off, the Yeager Airport expansion was not approved for funding by the federal government, so there's not going to be an expansion into Coonskin Park. So I'm really excited about what they're doing at the terminal, though. I mean, first look, first opportunity when you come into Kanawha County, we would love to show them how wonderful our area is, and we can really, really show right there at the terminal all the great things we have to offer. You know, the airport is a pathway to economic development, getting as many people in here as possible. And on the county commission, you have a board on the airport, a board seat there. And having a board seat, you work with airlines. You work to be able to get new routes. You work to be able to get direct flights. Our county commission recently approved a direct flight to New York City, which a lot of people have wanted for a long time. I'd love to see other direct flights to other large cities to be able to bring people here and to give our people a route to different cities throughout the world. That's what I want to see with the airport.
All right, Natalie?
Thank you. And actually, I was just thinking about the New York flight. The first New York flight, direct flight that we had from here, I was on the flight with your dad on Walters, and I was like,
Small world.
Yeah, this is great, isn't it? Yeah, and then it was gone. Well, I think that we should not be having the expansion. That was my concern even before the federal government said, no, we're not going to do this. And I want to know more. I mean, we're trying to bring people in and we're trying to make things open and welcoming, and to take coonskin away was a real concern over that. So I too think that having an airport, the terminal and having it upgraded, I think it was like $8 million. Then here's the other concern too, and I think it's starting to be addressed a little bit better with KRT. You come into there and, we fly out and we go into larger cities and we know that we're going to be able to get a taxi, we're going to be able to get an Uber, and that's not necessarily been the case when flying out of Yeager Airport. Now, KRT has a system, KRT Plus, where you might be able to call and do that in advance. But I've had a situation where it's 4 a.m. and I need to get to the airport, and I've called in advance to the taxi, and they call me and say, we couldn't get someone in today. Sorry, we can't pick you up. At 4 a.m, like, what are you supposed to do at that point? So I've had to drive my car. Maybe I should not say this. Of course, my vehicles, nobody wants to steal. But I'll drive my car, leave the key in the car, and ask a friend to go pick it up and pay for 1 day instead of 4 or 5 days. Now, that is a concern, and that's not very welcoming as someone comes in expecting in 2024 to be able to have a ride share.
All right, next question, and Natalie, we'll start with you. Please ask the candidates what can be done from the county level to help with our out-of-control utility prices, specifically water and electricity. The more of our water rates go up, the worse our service gets. Our utility rates are out of control.
Oh, yeah, and I understand that completely. And have we been anywhere? Like, I don't know if we've been anywhere together, but we might have been to various meetings. I was out at Cross Lanes when the union PSD was deciding whether they were going to go with West Virginia American Water or not. And we need to stand up and fight for the residents. And it's a tough situation on both sides because we have 100-year-old pipes, and at some point they're going to need to be fixed up. And I don't think that we should be having to fix them up at 2:00 in the morning when the pipes have burst on the west side or water's not running in other areas of the county. And so that's what I'll do as a county commissioner is make sure and fight those same rate increases until I see, is it truly helpful to the residents of the county? I mean, that's where we have to stand. And we've seen many of the county commissioners doing that already. And we have to make sure that these rates don't continue out of control.
Chris?
Yeah. So this all started in 2006 whenever the lawyer who advocated for rate increases for the water company was then appointed to the PSC and then became president of the PSC. Since he was appointed to that position, he oversaw all rate increases. Having come from working for the water company to advocate for rate increases, we saw our rates jump 150, 200%. The PSC is out of control whenever it comes to what our rates should be. Our people are being penalized every day by the cost of utilities. What I want to do is this. I want to go to the legislature. I want to have them give the county commission the ability to do a one-time rate reset where we audit the water utilities, all the utilities, see what the rates should be. And then once we get the information back from the audit, going ahead and do a one-time rate reset to put the rates where they should be. These are penalizing our citizens. We had the 6th highest water rates in the United States in Kanawha County 4 years ago, and we've seen rate increases since, Dave. We have more natural fresh water in West Virginia than almost anywhere else in the United States. It makes no sense. I am going to lead the forefront of fighting for utility rates to be brought down for all of our citizens. And not only does it hurt our residents, Dave, it hurts businesses from coming here. If you're a business that's a manufacturer and use a lot of water, and you see that Kanawha County has one of the highest water rates in the United States, are they going to want to locate here? And then you look at our other utilities too. Is that going to make a business want to locate here? This deals with our residents. This deals with economic development. It deals with bringing jobs to Kanawha County, and it's something I'm going to take very seriously.
This next one actually kind of goes along with utilities to a certain extent, and it was a text from a first responder that said, if elected, how do both of you plan to implement public notifications to large-scale emergencies? Chris?
Yeah, Dave. We have the Kanawha County Emergency app already that's available, but additionally, getting out text to all the phones. We have the siren, working with people like you, Dave, and the media to help do announcements, whether it be on radio or TV, to be able to get as much information out to the citizens as possible, utilizing social media where available, having it out on X, having it out on Facebook, really putting the notification out in so many ways to try to reach as many people as possible.
You know, at the end of the month, the last Wednesday of the month, we have the alarm that rings. That same kind of testing needs to take place for emergency alerts, for the people to be, and we just have to use the technology that we have. We have it all the time. We're on it all the time, whether it's on our wrist or whether it's on our hand. And it's interesting. I was actually at a conference in Hawaii, and if you remember, this was about 2018, 2019. I, on a West Virginia phone, still was able to receive that alert that there was an emergency taking place. And certainly we should use all aspects of the technology and prepare for it and have testing for it so people can understand. But what does this go back to also when we talk about technology? I mean, it's a given. We're going to use social media, TV, radio, all of those things. As a former television reporter, while we were getting the information in, the reporters and the photogs were running out to the site of the problem. But it gets back down to the internet. You know, when I go to Sissonville and someone says, please help us get internet up at Allen's Fork, well, I mean, how are they going to get that same information if the internet is not working well? The same with the outer areas of the county. Now, the state of West Virginia has $1.2 billion. $1.2 billion with the BEAD program from the federal government and from this Biden-Harris administration that's coming to West Virginia. And so finally, and we have to get it right. We can't have the same Frontier mistake or the same internet mistake on money that we had in 2009 when we got $22 million, and we thought that was a lot at the time. Now we have 1.2, and we need to be able to hit every area of the county. Like nothing should be dark anymore. We are past that. And that's how the first responders can also feel comfortable in having part of their work being taken care of.
This is a two-part question that a texter had, and Natalie, I'll start with you. On top of previous successful efforts, what more can the commission do to expand outdoor tourism in Kanawha County?
Oh, I mean, there's so many. I mean, and you point to it's not just the commission that is doing it. It is the towns and the unincorporated areas themselves, but mostly the towns. I mean, I'll start at Clendenin, where I was up there. Chris was up there in 2016, and it was just, devastation because of that flooding. And to see it now, to see the resurgence, to see the hope and the determination you have. I've gone up there. We talk about the things that they opened up a new bike track up above Clendenin to come down into the town. There's the Clendenin Brewing that has bingo every night, and they let my dog come in with me, so I was really happy about that. And just the town is being revitalized. We see that the Roxy Theater. So that's tourism. That's something that Chris even talks about. After an event is taking place, what else is there to do? Well, after you've gone to the Rails and Trails and the Elk River Trail, then you come down to Clendenin. The same with Nitro. Are we going to help Nitro, or is Nitro basically took care of themselves when they had the pickleball? Now they want covered pickleball courts. Imagine that, heated and cooled all at the same time. So that's what we need to expand on, and we need to make it part of economic development. And we throw that word out a long time. What do I mean by economic development? Well, with the Upper Kanawha Valley recreation plan that I do talk a lot about, but it is a physical thing that you can look at. If you had an equestrian trail up there or a horseback riding trail, I saw a young woman at an innovation conference, and she had a portable tack box not a tackle box, but a tack box. And Chris, you know this because your daughter rides horses, right?
Yep.
And the tack box is the all the equipment that you need to fix maybe the shoes on the horse. Well, she made it portable. Well, right there's the start of her economic development business from a college student who can be part of that economic development for the recreation area up there. And I could talk more and more. We know out in Tornado they had now have the largest single track trail, meaning motorcycle and electric bicycles east of the Mississippi. So what's that going to do? That's going to bring people in, and maybe you go there. You go to a soccer tournament, and then you just go head out to Tornado and go ride your electric bike on that trail. I mean, there's so many things that we can interact with what we already have, and that's why you get out and about and learn things from people and go visit places.
Chris?
Yeah, two things. First, I want to start with broadband expansion to answer from the last question. When I was in the legislature as a senator, I created the Broadband Development Council because money was being used so fraudulently. The Broadband Development Council oversees all grants that come into the state of West Virginia. They're not people that's part of the internet service providers. They're actual people in communities to ensure broadband gets out to the right places. I have a broadband expansion plan for Kanawha County, and it follows what South Charleston did. South Charleston took their ARPA money. They then built broadband to every single house in South Charleston, partnering with an internet service provider. And now every house in South Charleston has internet at 500 megs for about $40 a month. They have the fastest, most reliable internet in the state of West Virginia. I want to use this $1.2 billion to be able to build fiber to every home in Kanawha County to give you all affordable internet services that is faster, more reliable than anywhere else in the state of West Virginia. And as a county commissioner, I'd be applying through the Broadband Development Council to try to get those funds for Kanawha County. Now, speaking about outdoor activities for our kids, this is something I've really focused on. Natalie and I have both spoken at multiple high schools. And whenever I go, the first question I ask the kids are, what do you do for fun? What do you do in Kanawha County? And I say, what about Sky Zone? They say, well, a lot of middle schoolers go there. That's kind of the age range for that. But as high schoolers, we have nothing. Dave, when I was a kid here, I got dropped off at the mall with $20. All right. I'd walk around the mall, see people, and then I'd go over to the movies at Park Place Cinemas, watch a movie, and then get picked up by my parents. That's what we had. The kids don't even have that. When we talk about outdoor activities for kids, we need to talk about utilizing our hillsides. We have so many wonderful hillsides that can be seen from the interstate. That's why I've talked about year-round tubing, which is essentially a rubber horizontal mesh that you put on a hillside and people can tube down it all year round. I'd love to see that at Coonskin Park. I've talked about a safari park, which just takes a hillside. You fence in the hillside, you take a dozer and make a dirt road, you put in llamas, emus, highland cows, ostriches, and give feed buckets to people to go feed these animals. Not only will that bring people off the interstate, give our local kids stuff to learn about animals, but our veterinarians will get the expertise in taking care of these types of animals. And then you create medical tourism to Kanawha County. Beyond that, I've talked about mountain karting. And what that is, it's kind of like a soapbox derby that snakes down the side of a mountain, and you race your friends like Mario Kart. There's no engine on these types of devices you sit on. And we'd be the first county in the United States to offer mountain karting. You just put the little place for a phone to be on top of a helmet. Kids record it, put it on TikTok, and there's your marketing campaign right there. Everyone want to stop in Kanawha County to do that. I really want to bring people off the interstate. I want to do a lot of things for the kids. That's what I've really ran on. I think it's important because we can be a family destination unlike any other here in Kanawha County.
All right, guys, I did not get to all the text questions. I apologize, but in the interest of time, I'm going to have to move on. I'm going to give you each 60 seconds as your closing statement. And so, Chris, I'm going to start with you, and then, Natalie, you'll get the final word, okay? Chris, why should people vote for Chris Walters for Kanawha County Commission?
Well, first, I want to thank you. I want to thank my family, my wife, Elizabeth, for supporting me along the whole way. I mean, this is really a marathon. It takes a lot of time, effort to be able to get out, get your message across. I think whenever you look at the Walters for Commissioner campaign, you have to look at what I've really focused on. I've focused on creating fun activities for our kids in the community. You know, we have low cost of living. We got good jobs here in Kanawha County. We need to bring more, which I'll work to do. We've got other great things that you love about Kanawha County. We just need to add the one thing about making things for our kids to make it a destination. I've talked about how I want to help seniors. At age 65, I think that's the last time a tax assessor should come to your house. And from there, your tax rate would be frozen so that you know every year what your property taxes will be, that they won't increase every single year, and you can budget for those property taxes instead of having to wonder what it will be with our high cost of living right now. We need to help our senior citizens, and I have a plan to do that. I've worked in the legislature on broadband. I implemented child's right to nurse so that nursing mothers can't be kicked out of restaurants whenever I was in the Senate. I also opened up our downtown
10 seconds, Chris.
to allow the outdoor dining. But thank you all so much for the time. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Dave. Chris Walters, I'd appreciate your vote for county commissioner.
Natalie Tennant, why should people vote for Natalie Tennant?
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Dave, for having us. I'm running for Kanawha County Commission to be that servant. I'm running because I'm not afraid to put out ideas. I'm not afraid to look for solutions. One thing that we talked about that I thought that we might is the homelessness and the panhandling that takes place on our street, not just our streets of Charleston, but I've found that this concern happens in Paint Creek in Marmette. And so I went to the source. I went and I talked to about 4 or 5 people who are houseless, homeless. They didn't really give me their definition of what they want to be called, but that's the type of leader that I am. I'm not going to talk around things and give generalities, but I'm going to go and say, this is what they're saying to me. Like we have the quick response teams that are helping some folks who are out on the streets, and we can continue to do that. And I just, I'm working with all kind of folks for their issues and presenting their issues like water, infrastructure, budgeting and internet, and I bring those ideas and that enthusiasm, and I bring results of what I've done in the Secretary of State's office. And so I ask folks to please consider me, Natalie Tennant for Kanawha County Commission. I'd appreciate your vote.
All right, guys, and I appreciate you both being here. Thanks a lot. It is 9:44. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you a physical therapy assistant and looking for an opportunity in orthopedics, wellness, and athletic care? If so, Generations Physical Therapy is offering flexible work hours and an upbeat atmosphere. With 7 convenient locations, Generations may have a job designed for you. Visit generationspt.com.
Kanawha County needs an effective and stable leader in the prosecutor's office. We need John R. Mitchell Jr. John is a seasoned professional with 40 years of criminal law experience. John is a former state senator and has experience working in the Attorney General's office and as an assistant county prosecutor. The Kanawha County Prosecutor's Office needs a leader who can help keep criminals off the street. Kanawha County needs John R. Mitchell Jr. Paid for by the committee to elect John R. Mitchell Jr.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-230-2777. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. 800-230-2777.
It is 14 minutes away from 10. Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaler text 304-935-5008. Older adults should protect themselves against severe respiratory disease. Talk to your doctor about flu, COVID-19, and RSV vaccines. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Huston's Pizza, where this month at your favorite Huston's, get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and Pizzadilla, only $21.99. Mayor of Charleston, Amy Shuler Goodwin, is here. Good morning.
I like your new digs.
You like this?
Yeah, these are really nice.
And it's only temporary. You know, we're going to be moving, to a bigger studio, but yeah.
It's
Did you get a chance to listen to any of the debate?
I did, and the thing that I will say, am I okay?
Yeah, you're all right.
Okay here. The thing that I will say is I'm so glad to hear two people who are running against each other, not throwing punches. It's refreshing. It used to be in the day that we used to be able to maybe not have the same ideas or maybe not be able to agree on something, but still be civil. Those are two people who are just really good folks, obviously. And
look, I told them
that's
both.
What public servancy should be about, by the way. I don't want someone yelling and screaming. I just simply don't. That's me personally. Yeah. I just don't want somebody yelling and screaming about something. That's a distracting technique that people use. I mean, I think your listeners are smart enough to know that's what people do, right? When they're either down in the polls or when they're confused or when they just start yelling and screaming and, I call it spinning, right? Twirling around. Yeah. You don't get that with those folks. Thank goodness.
They told me, Mayor, they both told me when they won their respective primaries, they said it's going to be a clean campaign, nothing negative. And I said, "Oh, well, that's really good. You're both full of crap."
You're like, yeah, right. Well, I've known Natalie,
and it's been just that. And I told him upstairs, I said, "Now, guys, this has been a clean campaign. Don't screw it up here." Yeah, right. And the two of them left together. I took a picture of them. I'll post on social media. I said, because sometimes candidates don't want to even be. They said, "Yeah," and they're like all hugged up, like they're old long-time friends.
Yeah, I've known Natalie since I was 18 years old. I went to West Virginia University, and I was in a sorority with Natalie. So I have known Natalie, and then I went into student government, but I've known her since I was 18 years old. I've known Chris Walters since, gosh, gee whiz, 25 years maybe, and his beautiful wife, Elizabeth, and his two sweet children. They're just ready. They're just good people. So thank goodness for all of us. But anyways, how are you?
I'm doing good. Of
course I was listening because I'm always interested. I mean, obviously, it is of interest to us, obviously in the mayor's office in the city of Charleston, because we fortunately have a really, really good relationship with the Kanawha County Commission.
And you have to. I mean, and they say it makes it a lot better when you do.
Yeah. When I got there, I remember everybody saying, "Oh, this is going to be, you're going to have to, fist fight with them all the time." And it's not. Mm-hmm. It's simply not. I work probably the closest with Ben Salango, but Lance Wheeler, they do a really, really good job. And then Mark Slotnick. I mean, if you can't get along with Mark Slotnick, there's something wrong with you.
Right? You said you had a couple of the big announcements, and we ran a little long on the debate, but I'm going to give you an opportunity because I have a question from the news team that they wanted me to ask you too, but I have a feeling you're going to cover that. Give me a couple of big announcements
maybe.
Here.
And it really ties in with exactly what Chris and Natalie were talking about, with the Upper Kanawha Recreation Master Plan. We were awarded on Friday $680,000 from the TAP grant for the Elk River Trail project. This project is going to include construction for a new pedestrian and bike pathway from the existing trail at the Kanawha and Elk River. So it'll kind of combine the two and connect the two. And why is that important? Well, as you well know, we received $25 million from our fabulous United States Senator Shelley Moore Capito and our fabulous United States Senator Joe Manchin to literally redesign and reimagine the boulevard. This is just another piece, and this will also help connect us to the Elk River. And, Tom Lane and I were texting back and forth. Everybody knows Tom Lane, former city council member. This is his jam. Trails are so important to West Virginia and to our vitality. And, oh, by the way, travel tourism, let me tell you something right now. People want to go, and they will stay in a hotel that is on the riverbank that they know they can bring their bike and their walking shoes or running shoes and come in. The guys from TC Energy, that's the hotel they stay in. They like to stay on the riverfront because they're runners. Mm-hmm. It is a big marketing thing for us. Just go ask Tim Brady from the CVB. But what's important is continuing this development of trails. Yesterday, my husband and I were on the trails. We announced this, Dave, 2 weeks ago. The Jones family, Callan, Jones, McJunkin, donated acres and acres, over 64 acres of property in South Hills. My husband and I did 2.5 miles of it yesterday or last early evening. It's absolutely gorgeous. By the way, it was packed. It was packed with people. That's what people want. It is, yes, it's a travel destination, but it's also quality of life that you can have that many miles of beautiful trails in your backyard. It's something big. It's something different that we have that other cities don't have. So.
Talking to Charleston Mayor Amy Shuler Goodwin. We got to take a break, and we got some more stuff I want to get to. Plus, there's a couple of texts for you too. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Live Healthy, West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy tackles a whole bunch of pressing health issues. It's a podcast aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond the state. Check out the latest episodes, WVMetronews.com, and start your journey towards better health today. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
My name is J.B. Akers, your common sense choice for House of Delegates in Kanawha County. Throughout this election, I've run a positive campaign grounded in the love I have for our state and her people. That's one reason why I'm the only candidate in my race endorsed by our state's leading job creators. I will always work with optimism for this wild, wonderful place we all call home. If you see me in public, I represent you, so please say hello. I will meet you with a handshake and a smile because that's the West Virginia way. My name is J.B. Akers, the Common Sense Jobs candidate, and I will be honored to have your vote. Paid for by J.B. Akers for West Virginia.
Welcome to Poca Valley, where we've been in business since 1908. Today, we serve Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties. We believe you deserve banking that provides friendly customer service. For all of your financial needs, stop by one of our 8 convenient locations. Call us at 844-782-2651 or visit us online at PocaValleyBank.com. Poca Valley, where relationships matter.
Member FDIC.
Hey, adventure seekers, step up to the starting line on the Thornhill Motor Mile with the Ford F-150 at Thornhill Ford Lincoln. Hey, it's Sydney with the truck that redefines tough, built with a military-grade aluminum alloy body and a high-strength steel frame. Whether you're hauling, towing, or just cruising, the F-150 is your ultimate companion with up to 14,000 pounds of towing power. Ready to conquer your next challenge? This truck month, come see the F-150 in action at Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Shop anytime at thornhillford.net and US 119 in Chapmanville. Step up to the starting line with Thornhill. Must qualify for all offers through Ford Financial. See Thornhill for full details.
Republican Eric Nelson is the candidate for state senate that Kanawha County families can count on. Senator Eric Nelson has helped create thousands of good-paying jobs and voted to give West Virginians the largest tax cut in our state's history. Voting for Eric Nelson, you know what you get. Better roads, more jobs, lower taxes, and the best education for our children. Eric Nelson supports West Virginia conservative values. Vote to re-elect Senator Eric Nelson. Paid for by the committee to elect Eric Nelson. In
the heart of West Virginia, there exists a profound force that goes beyond the realm of sports, transcending limitations and fostering a sense of belonging at Special Olympics, a remarkable initiative showcased in the latest episode of West Virginia Enriched in collaboration with Huntington stands as a testament to the power of determination, unity, and unwavering support. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics, Facebook.com/580WCHS. Mayor of Charleston, Amy Shuler Goodwin, is here. She comes in with a whole lot of stuff to talk about as we head into the holiday season, especially. Mayor, go ahead.
Well, there's just lots of stuff going on. I mean, we had a fabulous trick or treat. It's one of the very, 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 very best. I just want to make sure that everybody knows, and the refuse schedule is coming out quickly because everybody wants to know, including myself, when is your trash going to be picked up. So look for that this week. We're going to be putting that out. Veterans Day Parade. Please, please, please don't forget Monday, November 11th, Dave. It starts at 11 a.m. It's on the intersection. It starts at the intersection of Capitol and the Boulevard. And so thank you to John Brawley. They post 20. They are the most amazing. Tommy does such an amazing job. And so I just wanted to make sure that I got that. And, oh, by the way, do you want to name a snowplow?
Sure.
Well, actually, I don't even know why I'm asking you. You can't do it. It's for kiddos. We're going to do something new. I think it's so funny. Although the names that are coming in, we had a council member, Frank Annie, who I absolutely adore. He's absolutely wonderful, Dr. Frank Annie. He said, I know I can't do this because I'm not preschool through 12th grade, but here's a couple. You can submit until November 14th online on our website or any of our social, if you follow us on social. And actually, please follow us on social if you can, because that's where we really put out a lot of our refuse changes. We also send press releases. You guys at Metro News and WCHS Radio are so good of posting them. But that's a lot of the phone calls that we get in the mayor's office,
Yep.
Dave. I know everybody thinks, what are the calls you're taking? What are people concerned about? They're concerned about if my trash is being picked up on Thursday, do I put it out on Friday now or Wednesday? That is a big deal, especially when you have a household full of people like I do every year. You've got to make sure. So follow us there. But I also will note that we do other forms of media as well. And also we do robocalls as well. We do texting as well. We're really fortunate to have a really good communications team in our office because these are calls that we get every day. And if you do want to talk or you do have questions about any other issue, yes, I'm here. Yes, I take calls. Yes, we take texts, Dave, but unscripted, by the way, I don't read any of these. So you can just send them in to Dave. If you want to, though, ask a couple more detailed questions or have a conversation, 348-8174, 348-8174. If we don't get to it on the show, you can certainly text Dave, but sometimes from week to week, you don't get to me. But if you have a question or a concern or an idea, 348-8174. And if I'm not there, ask for Andrew.
Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. We're also brought to you by Meeks Realty and Generations Physical Therapy. Here's a text, Mayor.
Yeah.
Has anyone thought to connect Capitol Street, Capitol Market, and Coonskin Park with a path that follows Slack Street and Barlow Drive to the trailhead for Coonskin Park on Barlow Drive?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, that's what Tom Lane and I were texting about last night. Yes, absolutely. To connect Coonskin. As a mother of a kid who used to skateboard there all the time at Coonskin, it's nice to have that connection. But I will also note that we are, as our plan with City Center at Slack Plaza in the Business Improvement District, part of the reason, yes, not just to create and revitalize downtown, and I'm very proud of our team that we did just that. That's the center of the city. If you and I, Dave, took a little drone up and started looking, that city center is important to make that center of the city robust, right? But also, how do I get from city center to Capitol Market? How do I get from city center to the Clay Center and then beyond to the Capitol? So working now with those different, so it's the hub and spoke, right? All of those spokes. How am I getting from pillar to post? Those are the things that are important and certainly in our master plan.
Tomorrow is Election Day. Are you an early voter, Mayor, or are you a day of?
Absolutely. Early voter. And by the way, both of my boys obviously I love them to pieces. They came home from school to vote, and of course they brought their laundry.
No, of course they did.
I did that.
Yeah.
Many loads.
All right, Mayor, I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot. Coming up on
Thank you.
tomorrow's show, it is Election Day. West Virginia Secretary of State Mac Warner will be here. Should Election Day be a federal holiday? There's a person that's out there kind of beating that drum. We're going to talk to that person, plus Kanawha County Commissioner Ben Salango, on the show tomorrow as well. Hoppy Kurtz will come up 10:06 Metro News Talk Line. Download the WVRC Media app and the all-new Metro News TV app. We'll see you tomorrow. Until next time, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM 96.5 FM Charleston, 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.